Welcome back. Since our last video, don't know if you've noticed, I've added one color. I added yellow ochre. So as I was talking through and thinking about what I was going to be doing, I realized I did actually need that. I initially didn't think I was going to need it, but I think I did. Okay, I am going to get some white here and mix in some of my background color, what I think my background color is going to be. Mix it in with some white, and I'm going to start with my my glow. That's what I'm going to start with. I don't normally start with glow, but it seemed like a good place to go start this time. Start with glow. So I know that light is really particles, and that the particles are going to hit these objects and then bounce off. And then some of those light particles are going to bounce off, and they would have hit this very light object and bounce off, and they're going to brighten the area right around it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in there before I really even got my background in good. Now I am adding just a touch of white to the background. I don't want it to be completely black and umber. And one of the things that I love is the way that the background feels as it's going on if I'm painting it thickly. And one of the things that I love is the way in general that paint feels. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but that is what I really do enjoy about painting, is how does it feel? How does this process feel about sitting down here and painting? And that is when you read or listen to Ellen Langer and her talk about mindfulness, that's exactly what I'm doing. And that's why one of my taglines, or my main tagline, is mindfulness artist or mindful artist, is because I love this process about being mindful. Okay. So, and I'm going to need to add in some yellow in here to this light color. And we're going to add a little bit here. And also we've got that gold up top, so we're going to a little bit there. And oh boy, we're really going to add it in here. I may need to get some more raw umber. We'll just have to see. I bet I probably will. One of the things that I also like doing is I also like mixing my color up for my background as I go, just because I think it adds a little bit of it changes it up. It's not the same thing over and over again. And it is something that I can change up, and it just makes it, I feel like, adds more interest. Because it's not the same old, so you're not going to get the same old out of me. And the background is going to be a little bit different as well. things that I do like doing about adding in this glow early is I don't forget it. And it's easier for me to put it in as subtle as I like. When I first started painting, I was about as subtle as a bull in a china shop. And it really took a lot of practice to get better at this thing called being subtle. And I think one of those is because, I'm not a subtle person. I tell you how it is. Tell you how the cow ate the cabbage. Like, it just is. This is how it is. There's not any other reason for it. It just is. We gotta get used to how it is because it just is this way. And sometimes that does not bode well for painting, not when you're wanting to make some subtle changes. So now what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I do not have any UFOs. So what are UFOs? Ungrounded floating objects. If you don't put that little grounding line underneath it, it looks like they are floating. And I have had some floating paintings, some UFO paintings, and they are not as interesting and as beautiful as you might think, and they just don't really seem to work. It confuses the viewer, rightly so, because you're like, what is going on? It looks like gravity is not a real thing in your painting. So you got to make sure that that gravity is a part of your world, and that is just from putting in that little line there. That's really easy to do. Now what I'm doing is I'm going through and adding the light on the table. And kind of cleaning some of this stuff up. And you can make that underline underneath the objects, make it a little bit smaller if you want to. That's what I generally do. Putting my table edge in right there. For some reason I keep going up on this right hand side. I'm not really sure why. Okay. It's a really good start there for the background. Now I may be coming back to parts of it, but if I don't come back to it for whatever reason, I'm gonna be pretty happy with that. Okay, so let's talk about shadow colors. And the one I want to do the first, the shadow color, is the shadow of this vase. And a lot of times white, when we think about the shadow of white, is one of the hardest ones for us to go and get right. And it is a real challenge. What I'm mixing up is ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. And then I'm also going to mix up some white in here. Now there's a lot of different options that you could use. This is just one of them. When I have a white object that has blue on it, this is the color that I tend to use most often. I feel like that it works really well. It gets me the right value of white, because a lot of people get it a little bit too dark. I just put down something that was almost a little bit too light. But a lot of people get the value too dark. It helps to keep it light enough, because this is a shadow that is on white. We have to keep that in mind. This is a shadow that is on white. It's not on the tangerines, which that shadow is going to be quite a bit darker. You'll see here in just a few minutes. Now, one of the things I have not done yet, and we do need to do that now, is I have not there we go. Now, I'm not being precious about any of these edges, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why I'm not being precious about any of those edges. One is that when we look at any of the objects and we look at that vase, it is round. And as we're getting to this edge over here, it's not flat, it's really turning. And as it is turning, we're getting more of the air, which is going to be the color of the background. More of that air is going to be between our eye and this far edge over here than there will be here. So this background color is going to be a little bit into the edge of this vase. So and that's going to happen with everything that is round and that turns. So one of the things that I like to do is to make sure that there is a overlap. There is a overlap. The other thing, if you make sure there is a overlap, if you've done a drawing, your lines are not going to be shown in that drawing if you have done the overlap. See, I've got some lines here, right? But I'm going to make sure that I go over those, and we're not going to be able to see it. Okay, so I'm doing a little bit lighter value still. I'm just mixing a little bit more white. Do some over here as well. The other thing this color or this value is good for is to make the edging here, so kind of edge or get in on this side with this leading edge with a little bit lighter value. This has really helped me with getting objects to turn. Okay, so now you may be tempted to paint this a white. We are not going to paint it a white. We are going to take a lot of white, but we are not going to paint it white. We're going to take some of the shadow color and mix it in. It's going to be quite a bit lighter. But this is in order to show the highlight. This has to be darker than the highlight, and that's one of the things with painting, is that we have to use what we currently have. And what we have is that our brightest is only as bright as our brightest color, which is white. If you're using titanium white, you have a little bit of an advantage over me using lead white. Lead white is not quite as bright, not quite as crisp or clear as the titanium white. Be careful, I don't want this to get too bright. Do want it to be clear that this is not the shadow side. Okay, so that's a good base. Oops, just threw my paper towel holder off. Let's grab a bunch more white here. Now this is what I call shovel loading. See if I can get this for you, that shovel loading. Or here, shovel loading. You can see it. So I'm going to take, where is the brightest color of this at? And I'm going to paint it thicker. So I'm still not painting it with a full white. It's still got quite a bit of that color, the color in it. But every time I'm going over and getting a little bit lighter. And I'm really laying it on thick. Do you see that? Really laying it on thick. Especially above this line here. Okay. Now then, changing color. A really good background, or really good shadow color for these tangerines is actually just transparent oxide red. I really do love that. It adds so much color to it. You have plenty of room to go work with it. You can mix it in. I think this needs to be just a little bit bigger. So we're going to make this just a little bit bigger. Because it is just a little bit wider, isn't it? And I'm just getting a little bit here, adding a little bit of my medium to it. The transparent oxide red, mine is just a little bit on the stiff side, so I want to make sure I soften it up a little bit. A little bit of my medium. And again, this is time to go look at the drawing. Well, not look at the drawing, but work on the drawing. What is the shape of this? How can I better describe this shape of it? How can I do it with the outside shape? Okay, now I went on ahead and painted this first because I'm going to let this set up, and then we're going to be coming back to it a little bit later. So let's move to the clementines. And I'm going to choose the cadmium red light and the cadmium red deep and mix it into a orange. I'm not over mixing it. But I am going to be mixing this color into, on my panel here, I am going to be purposefully painting over the some of the transparent oxide red and creating this middle tone here. So I'm looking carefully at that and trying to get some neutral colors, some middle tones. Thinking about the way that the light is hitting it. Now I'm still using the same brush I started with, which is a Utrecht 6. This is a what is this? Hog bristle brush. I use hog bristle almost exclusively. It's a natural bristle. Had to stop painting so I could think of the word. Okay, so I'm just trying to get some of these neutral colors in, middle tones. And I'm wanting the middle tones to be really colorful. That's what I'm wanting. So I'm wanting these middle tones to be not too bright, but I am wanting them to be colorful. Still getting the not the transparent oxide red, but the cadmium red light, but I'm changing yellows now, changing yellows. Now remember, these are not the star of the show. This is the first tangerine that I just was painting there. It's not going to be the brightest. And what I'm wanting is the light to get a little bit brighter as we go from one to the other. So I'm going to use a little bit more of my cadmium yellow, lemon, cadmium yellow light, as we get closer. while we have this yellow orange out, I'm going to show you how to make gold. You know, they've been trying to make gold. Alchemist was trying to make gold out of lead for I don't know, centuries, and they just didn't know the secret to it, did they? Well, I'm going to show you how to make gold in a painting. Easier than what you think. Easier than 1, 2, 3. So gold, like any other metal, we've painted a little bit of metal before. It's going to be darker on both sides, both the shadow side and the leading side. I'll need to go back there and clean that up just a little bit. But then what we want to do is get just a little bit of hit of just this pure fire. Put that right there. And now we have gold. And we're going to get some of that here on the bottom as well. That seems like a really good stopping point for right now. We'll pause it here and let this this white set up a little bit longer. So if you want to follow me on Patreon, I will demonstrate how to put the pattern of that vase on here, and then also how to finish up with the clementines or tangerines.